Welcome, everyone. The meeting of the WSESD on August 12 will come to order. This meeting is a hybrid meeting, which means that some or all of the public body is meeting remotely and some are meeting physically in a previously noticed location where the public may attend to observe, listen, and participate contemporaneously. Please note that while we will strive to provide means for those attending remotely to participate in the public comment period, there may be technical difficulties or reasons that otherwise prevent or interrupt remote public participation. Therefore, it is important to note that open meeting law only ensures the public's right to participate and comment at a public meeting by attending at the designated physical location as posted in the notice and the agenda. If there are technical problems, for those of you who are Zooming in, please email or text someone in this space. We will do our very best to correct the problem. Nevertheless, the meeting continues as posted. Call to order. If appropriate, all agenda items are subject to potential action. If any board member feels that an item on the consent agenda warrants discussion, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be set aside for discussion. In this way, the consent agenda will be approved in one motion. That request should be made now or before the vote on the consent agenda. I do have an amendment to the minutes of July 8, and that amendment is on page 3 of the minutes. On page 3, the motion regarding the board chair reaching out to legal counsel for details around the preparation of a written summary of all cases. So regarding that motion, the vote as posted is incorrect. It lists AB, meaning Ann Beekman, as present. She was not present, she was absent. Therefore, the total of ayes in that vote is incorrect. It should be 7 and not 8. And I did write to Matt and I believe Tracy about that already. So that's a significant change to a vote. Any other amendments? Yes, Tim.
Yes, I would like to amend the same minutes to note that Pietro Lynn has been asked to look into the legality of extending a superintendent's contract midway through the current contract.
I'm sorry, midway through?
Through a current contract.
Okay. So,
that was my understanding from the meeting, but it was not noted in the minutes.
okay, all right.
May I ask a question about that?
Yeah, everybody's gonna have to, maybe we should just turn off this fan behind. Yeah, thank you.
Door will lock if you close
No,
it.
don't close it, yeah, sorry, thanks, Becca. Ruby.
I don't recall what the conversation you're talking about, and so I was it in this meeting and not an SU meeting?
No, it was in this meeting. The conversation came up, it was about updates, SU updates. And Anne was not here at the time. And the question was about extending the terms of a contract beyond, let's say, the 3 years, extending it by 1 year. And that there is a policy, or not a policy, but that principal contracts can be extended by 1 year. The way it reads right now in the 7-8 minutes, how does it read? Where am I? It says RM inquired about SU update regarding policy on superintendent contract and evaluations. D as indicated, Pietro Lynn is currently reviewing the policy, and there is not currently an update.
So I think the thing that I'm not recalling was a direction to do, like, that, I thought that update encompassed our conversation. I was not thinking there was anything beyond the policy committee having further consideration of the policy.
It was the supervisory union looking at the policy
Right.
and reaching out to Pietro Lynn
Right.
for an answer to a question that
Right.
came up at the SU level.
So I wonder if there's any need for further change personally. But I also think, just as a point of order, that what we're talking about is removing those minutes from the consent agenda, correct?
Yes. With a couple of
So
changes.
we're actually getting into the weeds of amending them. Are we amending the
Yes, we
minutes
are.
now?
Yes, yes. To begin the meeting, just cleaning up that particular set of minutes.
Okay.
Okay, and therefore, when we come to the consent agenda, we can approve it in one fell swoop. Okay, so, Tim, any comment?
Yeah, just that what was said was clear. I heard it on the video again, that it was noted that the SU was asking Pietro Lynn to look into the legality of extending a superintendent's contract midway through the contract. That was stated, but it was not included in the minutes. This is an important enough issue that I think that it should be stated in the minutes.
As an update.
Right.
Okay, as an addendum to, as an amendment to the minutes, expanding upon it. Okay, all right. So if there's no objection to that, it's done.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Matt.
how would you like this reflected in the minutes exactly?
I can give you the language.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry.
Okay, I think right under this paragraph where it is, just simply indicating that Pietro Lynn is specifically looking at the legality of extending an existing contract by an additional year. That's it. Does that make sense?
Clearly, yeah.
Okay, great.
And while this is not on our business, if anyone wants the answer, Pietro says that there is nothing in our policy that would preclude us from doing that.
And that will come up tomorrow night in the SU meeting.
Just wanted to tell them.
People
here are curious.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay. So, anything else? Any other amendments to any of these agendas or anything in the consent section? All right. I have done it before. I'm gonna do it again, but I did it and they were not present, as well they should not be, because it was summer break. And you need your summer break, especially as rising seniors. But I would, on behalf of this board, like to welcome our two new student representatives for the academic year 2025-2026. Riley Bristol.
Hello.
Yes, and yes, cheers, yes. And Willow Sharma. So it's right now, in terms of the seating, it's hard to see everybody, but as time goes on, you will you'll get to meet everybody and get familiar with everyone. We're a rather small group right now, so why don't we just start and very quickly go around the room. Let's start with this gentleman over here. I'm not sure if everybody knows who he is.
Superintendent Mark Spino.
welcome Willow and Riley. Pleased to have you on the team.
Tracy?
I'm Tracy Dross, I'm the board recorder.
Oh, that's an important job. Don't shrug your shoulders at that one, please.
Matt Shibley, board clerk.
Okay.
I'm Ann Beekman. I represent Putney, and thank you both so much for agreeing to hold these positions. Your input is more valuable than you know.
Yeah. Deborah Stanford, I represent Dummerston Board Chair, and I'm very grateful to have you both here.
Rebecca Barr, friend of Deborah Stanford. I love that you're participating in this. I'm an English teacher, so.
I'm like Deborah said, I'm rising senior Willow Sharma here at Brattleboro Union High School. I'm happy to be here.
Kim Price from Brattleboro. Sorry, I have a cough drop in my mouth. And I'm also the board vice chair.
Tim, and I know Willow and Riley from the SAC meetings, and welcome very much. We're glad to have you here. I should note that Willow hails from Dummerston and Riley from
No,
Guilford.
No.
Or
Wait,
back- The
no.
other way around. Guilford, Dummerston.
Right, yes, Willow is Guilford, Riley is Dummerston, yes.
I'm Jocelyn. I'm from Guilford, board rep.
Hi, I'm Ruby McAdoo, and I live in Putney. I have 2 kids at Putney Central School.
Hi, I'm Deb Gass, and I'm the Director of Early Education Services, which is the Head Start, Early Head Start and Parent-Child Center program administered by the school, and we serve all of Windham County.
Hi, I'm Riley Bristol. We're as a senior from Dummerston, and I'm really glad to be here.
All right, and behind the camera is
Hi, my name's Peter.
BCTV, thank you. I want to
You'll get
include,
used to seeing him.
I want to include everyone in the space. All right, so let's move to student matters. I don't know if there are any students online or anyone has anything that they want to say at this point. And I do want to say regarding this student matters, as student representatives to the board, you are entitled, more than entitled, to speak at any point during this meeting. All right, I don't see any hands up, student matters. We are moving on to public comment on non-agenda items. This is a time for the board to listen and to take notes. It is not a time for the board to respond to comments or to engage in dialogue with the public. If appropriate, the board and administration will work on next steps. So, if there is anyone in the public who has a comment to make, please raise your hand. All right, I do not see any hands up at this point, so we are moving on. We are going to take a look at 2 programs that Deb Gass is presenting this evening. One is Head Start Non-Federal Waiver Request for board approval, and one-time supplemental funds for nutrition and healthy eating for Head Start children and family submission for approval.
Thank you. So the first item, the Head Start Non-Federal Waiver Request for approval, is really a formality. This has been already approved by Policy Council, and that I have given you a narrative that is entitled Non-Federal Share Waiver Request. Basically, this is a document that we need to submit to the Office of Head Start, requesting that we receive an allowance to have our 5-year funding come to closure, and we were not able to meet the required amount of non-federal share. This is an issue that most Head Start programs are grappling with these days. Back in the time that Head Start was conceived, the idea was that the community would match the federal dollars with non-federal in-kind, be it dollars, be it volunteerism, donated space, things like that. And over the years, that has become more and more challenging. The Office of Head Start actually encourages us to make these kinds of requests when we can't meet the total amount. And so our 5-year period actually ended June 30th. We're glad to report we have another new 5-year period that started July 1st. This is going back to that June 30th date now that we've finalized our books, and we need to submit a waiver request for that shortfall, which is articulated for you there. It's $141,399. So I seek your approval to submit this request to close out the books for the 5-year period.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All right, questions? Okay, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so pass. Thank you.
Thank you. The other item on the agenda is the one-time supplemental funds for nutrition and healthy eating, which is something that I'm not prepared to submit for your approval tonight, but I did want to give you a heads up about it. Funny thing, there's new money for Head Start in this particular arena. And the window is open for a period of time. It's kind of, I don't know what the total amount is, but there's a rolling possibility, so there's not a deadline that we need to meet to submit this. We are working rather aggressively on it because we don't want to miss the opportunity. And so the instructions are fairly comprehensive. The net is wide in terms of what we can include, and so I wanted to let you know there are things that we're considering, like doing some specialized training for our nutritionists around allergies and creating menu items to accommodate the many allergies that we are that we're seeing in our enrollment, as well as some new kitchen equipment like an exhaust fan in the kitchen, an additional freezer refrigerator because we have storage issues. And we're talking about the possibility of purchasing another vehicle to transport meals. We transport now to a number of locations. All of these are possibilities under the guidance of this funding opportunity. We actually can submit the application prior to receiving your approval. I'm not sure that we need to go that route, but I did want to lay the groundwork for that tonight and respond to any questions that you might have.
Okay. Any questions, Ruby?
I'm just wondering, I know that Harley Sterling came on, in the district. So I was wondering to what extent the work of EES and the nutritionist and the food program overlaps or combines with the district nutrition program.
So we are actually in the process of opening another classroom. So we're moving the existing collaborative classroom that was housed at Oak Grove over to Canal Street, and we're also opening a second classroom there this fall. We are still negotiating how we are going to actually provide the meals. And so there has been consideration to look at, what EES can bring to the table and what the new vendor can do. The second classroom will be running through this summer as well. It'll be a year round. So we're taking all of those things into account when we have that conversation. But Head Start is, as you know, a very prescribed program, and we are required to have a staff nutritionist or a nutritionist that could be a consultant. And we have a kitchen of 3 cooks. So we're already providing meals for our members, and we also provide meals for children who are in our partnership program. For instance, Mulberry Bush and USB. We provide meals for all the children, of which only a part are EES enrolled. But we're looking at that model for the new Canal Street collaboration. So we are considering it. Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, Deb, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then just finally,
I'm sorry.
this is just for, it's great for new folks to understand the very complex but dynamics of how the board and Head Start work together. So I just grabbed this on my way out the door to the meeting and thought it could be a handy reference tool for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So,
Yes, and as you leave, I have something.
thank you. Have a
Okay,
great meeting.
thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Can I just pass this around the table? It's for Riley. It's a copy of the agenda, just so that you can see it. Leadership Council updates. That's what we're up to. I know leadership councils have not met. Thank you, Deb. Thank you very much. All right. But there was a suggestion at a recent board meeting, and certainly before that as well, that as the orientation for leadership council chairs is planned, that perhaps a board member could also participate. So, Mark, will you let us know about dates?
I don't see a problem with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. And my understanding is the orientation generally takes place sometime in late September, October.
Typically the second half of October.
Right, because you have to give,
some time to generate interest.
yeah, and you have to have leadership councils make their elections, who's
Correct.
chair. Yes, Tim.
Yeah, of course, I'm delighted that we'll be invited. I would like to hear from fellow board members. Perhaps it would help to what their understanding of what our role is on the leadership council. Our chair at the at BAMS asked that the board kind of focus more on what the responsibilities are, because the policy has a number of responsibilities, including assisting in the budget development, providing input in hiring processes, providing input on learning initiatives, and so on. And if you look at the Leadership Council minutes and agenda, there's tremendous variation in when you go from LC to LC.
Okay, can I interrupt you 1 second?
No.
I am gonna interrupt 1 second, because I'm not sure that the board is prepared to have this discussion. I think it is a really important discussion. I think it would be helpful if we, as board members, had a heads up about it so that we can come prepared to talk about it. Looking at exactly what you're talking about, the agendas and the minutes across different leadership councils.
Well, my understanding was I was giving a heads up to get input before people volunteer for the orientation, so we can be a unified voice at the orientation. That this was a heads up.
Okay. But you're asking for board input and discussion?
Not now.
My misunderstanding, I heard something very different. Okay. So, can you send me an email to this effect, and it will be on the agenda at a future board meeting?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, actually,
Go ahead.
would it be a violation of open meeting law if board members simply did this electronically, gave their thoughts to what the orientation should include, the role of the...
I think that's board business.
Okay.
I would think that's board business, so I'd be wary of doing it that way.
Okay.
And I think it's worthwhile to have a group discussion and to hear the back and forth. But I would like board members to be prepared, and for certainly the public to realize that this is on the agenda for discussion, and it's not on the agenda right now. Okay. All right, and I don't think there are any leadership council updates at this point. It's been summertime. Board subcommittees and SU updates. There was a request that the policy committee consider a change in time. We are not meeting until next Wednesday, and it will come up for discussion. And then we'll be able to report back to the board. In terms of flexibility of administrators and the individuals at the central office, availability in terms of timing. Anything else, board subcommittees, SU updates? Ruby?
I just wanted to alert the other board members on the finance committee that I think we had an intention of having a meeting yesterday, and I didn't realize it until yesterday. So we didn't have a meeting yesterday, and it was really it wasn't an intended meeting with Frank Recker, who was not available at that time. He will be joining us at the September 8th meeting. So I'll send an email around to, I think Brian and Kim are currently the board members on the finance committee, to talk about whether or not we want to have a meeting in between that would just be board members, but because that was in the kind of acknowledged in a previous meeting, I just wanted to let folks know. So the next formal full finance committee that's scheduled is September 8th.
Yeah, it's very easy to miss a meeting.
Yes.
In
the summer.
Heat of the summer, yes. So grateful that everyone is here. And you just, for my records, you said on the finance committee, it's Brian, Kim Price, and Ruby.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, thanks. Anything else? Under board subcommittees, SU updates, anything? SU update?
Meets tomorrow. The important thing on our agenda will be the recommendation to the redistricting task force.
Right, the motion.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, great. All right, we are moving on to letter C, update on legislative issues related to education.
Well, Justin?
So, I mean, the first task force meeting happened, it was a very short one. They have a longer one coming up, I believe it's the 19th, and that's when they would like to have heard from the SUs and SDs how they, want to propose mergers and stuff. They did put out a tool that can allow for maps to be built so that they could play with how they want to construct it. And as we've talked about merging SUs, one of the options is you can pick by the SU, and using the 4 Windham SUs, we get to 5,122 students, which is within the 4,000 to 8,000 student range that they would like. So that's.
Could you repeat that one? I'm sorry, I missed. What did you just say?
So this map that you can see here, you can pick the SUs and merge the SUs, which creates a single district map, which, I mean, it would be an SU, right? And it's 5,122 students. So, and their goal is to get between 4,000 and 8,000 students within like a supervisory union district or whatever, however they want to.
What is the 5,000 plus is our district and some others?
Windham Northeast, Windham Central, Windham Southeast, and Windham Southwest.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, so just taking all of the Windham County.
Yes,
SUs.
and as I know, we've talked about who to reach out to
Right.
and so on and so forth,
Okay,
It's
and
the
just.
starting point kind of.
Right, it's coming together, and that doesn't mean that all of those SUs would necessarily be bonded
Right.
together, because there's also contiguous going north.
Right.
In terms of mapping. You sent an email out.
I
did-
tried to generate a report from this tool.
Yes.
It doesn't print more than the first page. There's like 6 pages to it, but I can't get it to come
Okay,
out,
because I couldn't
even
see,
on paper.
I
Yeah.
couldn't see any maps.
It's cutting it off.
Oh,
I don't know why. The tool's
Okay.
not working.
okay, got it, all right. Kim,
Would you be able to send the link for the tool?
Yes.
Perfect.
that.
Thank you very
yeah,
much.
Okay, well did that solve the problem?
That's just solve the problem for people to look at it.
Okay, so if you
It
could send.
doesn't, it doesn't solve it in mobile. It's not very outfitted for anything other than a desktop, just so we're all aware.
Okay, but if you could send that to everyone on the board,
You got it.
as
Thank you,
well
Jocelyn.
as
You're welcome.
Riley, Bristol, and Willow Sharma, okay? Okay, other updates here.
Yeah.
Tim,
I just want to note that the resolution that we'll be sending, is this later on? No, it's no. The resolution that we'll be sending to the task force says in the second paragraph,
okay, wait 1 second. Resolution to the task force, meaning the combination of the two motions. SD and SU, the two motions going to the task force?
right,
That's, okay.
right. So the second part says the WSESD school board will explore the benefits of combining Windham Southeast, Windham Northeast, and Windham Central supervisory unions. So it would be a combination of those three. I'm not sure how many students that entails,
About 4,000.
Mhm.
about 4.
Yeah,
So we would be there. Everybody received this, so my understanding is that we're okay to send this to the task force now?
after tomorrow.
Yeah, assuming that the SU,
Are we
Well,
not?
I think it's a fairly reliable assumption that the SU is going to go in this direction. So it's only after tomorrow that,
okay, so this
Yeah.
body, the SD, does not need to approve that added language about exploring,
I think we do. I think we do, it does involve us.
okay.
So,
So at a prior meeting, we approved a resolution. Now, I would like to make a motion that this board approve the letter to the task force based on that resolution, which is the same as the resolution we passed, with the added language, the WSESD school board will explore the benefits of combining the Windham Southeast, Windham Northeast, and the Windham Central supervisory unions.
continue, it's more, there's more. Our purpose,
Oh, I
Doesn't
thought
it
that was in the
continue?
original.
That was its change.
I'm sorry,
That line you just read was a change.
The rest is the same.
The rest is the same.
okay,
Can
so we'll explore the benefits of combining. So I have that in front of me, based upon, the email that was sent August 8th, right? And the rest is the same. And I'm just for the purpose of everyone who's listening right now, could you read the entire document?
Okay. Dear redistricting task force, the Windham Southeast Supervisory District, being composed of member towns of Brattleboro, Dummerston, Putney, and Guilford, would like to remain a supervisory union within a larger school governance region to the extent practical under the terms of H 454, now known as Act 73, as approved by the Vermont legislature on June 16, 2025, and signed into law by Governor Scott soon thereafter. The WSESD School Board will explore the benefits of combining the Windham Southeast, Windham Northeast, and Windham Central supervisory unions. Our purpose is to optimize cost savings and efficiencies where possible, while maintaining local democratic engagement, oversight, and accountability in order to achieve excellent educational outcomes for our community's children and youth at a cost that Vermonters can afford. Sincerely, the WSESD Board of Directors.
Minor point, the name of this district is the Windham Southeast School District. Not the supervisory district's school, this Windham Southeast School District.
Really?
Yeah, Dave Scholes picked it out himself.
Oh, didn't know that.
Because Windham Southeast Unified Union Supervisory District sounded really bad to us.
Okay, I'll change that.
Okay, and where is that change taking place? I'm sorry, is it
It's like the very first one.
it's the very first line?
It's in a
Oh, God,
supervisory
we
district.
are not a supervisory district. We've already been through that. I should have seen that. Right, we are definitely not a supervisory district.
I only even saw it because I was rewording it for the SU.
Right, got it.
That's it.
Mhm, right. Okay, so, you'll send a clean copy, Tim?
Yeah, I'll send a clean copy, and my question is, how should we send this to the task force? Not from my email, or how should it be sent?
I would think it would come from the board chair's email, meaning both board chairs, because both motions are gonna be on this document.
Gotcha.
Okay, all right, got it.
And I sent it along to Vernon as well.
Where's, I'm sorry?
I've sent that resolution to
Okay.
Vernon to have a look at it.
Good, okay. And once that goes out to the task force, my understanding it should go out to all of our local legislators as well.
And the press.
And the press,
I was gonna ask.
Thank you.
Yes.
and I would think even social media, right? So we really just want to blast this out as far as possible, okay?
The more people we
Ruby,
can-
I'm sorry,
Sorry,
Jocelyn,
I
go
was gonna
ahead.
say, the more people we can get to write in, in our favor, would be helpful.
Well,
The better off we are, yes,
Yeah,
okay,
and-
yes,
to that end, I sent a longer letter to the board.
okay, that's a separate, let's just hold on to that 1 second. Ruby has her hand up, okay?
I had a question about the first part of the second paragraph, the kind of bolded section that outlines the 3 districts that we're going to explore. I just wondered about, and knowing that the tool that Jocelyn brought up exists is helpful, because then you can play around with stuff, but I just wondered to what extent does it make sense to, I don't know, have language that's a little bit broader and doesn't kind of lock us in that way. And I think it would be a little bit of wordsmithing, but it's possible just adjusting the tone of that one sentence would help to be a little more expansive.
So are you suggesting that we not be as specific as, see, that was my original take on this as well. I felt that the language should say that we're exploring the benefits of combining Windham Southeast with contiguous supervisory unions. So rather than being overly specific at this time, I think the more specific we are, suddenly we're locked in and people are saying, well, I thought it was going to go in this direction. And what I'm hearing, because this has already gone around a little bit behind the scenes, is, I guess it could go either way. I guess it could go either way. Jocelyn, did I see your hand?
Yes, my concern with suggesting specifics is that it might limit us, because if it's not enough students in the, to qualify, that they may disregard our request.
Yeah, okay. Yes, Tim.
Yeah, the counter argument is that the more specific we are, the more impactful it'll be on the task force that's reading this. It's harder to dismiss something that has specifics in it than something very general. So with that, we kicked this around, and I kicked it around with the steering committee of the RSCA, and Cheryl Charles and Margaret and others on the steering committee agree that specificity is better.
And my feeling had been at the time that specificity can always come in a follow-up email, because we need to bombard the task force and legislators with our concerns. Rudy?
I think that I would propose that we adjust the language to say that we explore the benefits of combining the Windham Southeast School District with contiguous school districts such as Windham Northeast and Windham Central Supervisory Union, or something like that, because I feel like I don't have an issue with the specificity of naming those two particulars, but I think that there's a framing that isn't in the existing language that helps to see that we have many options. We have options, and it just so happens that those two contiguous ones are the ones we will likely focus on. But I don't think I think I react strongly to, particularly if this is a public document, if it's a press release. I definitely think that it will be something that people come back to, and if we shift or change, then all of a sudden we look like we're, what do we know?
Yeah. I just want to say in the second paragraph, it would be combining Windham Southeast Supervisory Union with contiguous supervisory units.
Right,
It's
sorry.
not school district. Even
was
though it
a
didn't say,
That was
it says it as a plural. No, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure we're very clear about this. I also have concerns because the various supervisory unions that are mentioned, beside our own, they haven't necessarily had conversations in-house about combining with us. So I know that perhaps Windham Northeast has, but I don't know that Windham Central has. And that's of concern. So even though you've somewhat soft-pedaled the other two, it's still in the document, right? So I would think it's either there or it's not there, that we simply say contiguous supervisory unions at this point. Okay, let's hear how board members feel about this and the direction we're going in so that we can bring this together. What do you want to do?
Can I share?
I have Brian Reamer, and so Brian, hold on one second. Mark.
I think it's way too early to start naming, like the game plan of what that's gonna be. There's so much analysis that has not been done, that has not been looked into to create a thoughtful approach to this bill. So my recommendation would be much more general in not naming other surrounding school districts. I think it's certainly implied, but there's a hell of a lot of work that needs to be done to do this well, and to do this thoughtfully, and to do this where we're keeping students and families at the center.
Brian, hi.
Hello, and thank you. And I want to reinforce what Mark just said, that I think it's a bit premature to say exactly who we want to be connected with if nobody from our supervisory union has spoken with them to really see what their willingness is, it kind of puts some pressure on them that may not be appreciated. So I too would be in favor of keeping things vague, that we're reaching out to nearby supervisory unions or contiguous ones, or but several and more than one, so that we get across that we're serious about a supervisory union approach as opposed to a district approach. And my understanding was that that's the distinction we needed to make, was whether we were interested in supervisory unions or larger districts.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else who has not spoken yet? Anybody else? Okay, Tim?
Yeah, just to let you know, the RSCA has reported that there's, by the 19th of this month, about 14 school districts and supervisory districts and supervisory unions will have come up with a very similar resolution. Some are being very specific and some are not. So we're not alone. And also, just recently, three of us, Ann, Deborah, and I, went to a gathering of RCA folks, and there were people from the Windham Central that I spoke with, as well as Windham Northeast. So it's not a big surprise, but I don't think it's going to change much. I'm willing to go with whatever language the board.
Okay. Yes, we were at that meeting, and but it was not a convocation of Windham Central, nor was it of Windham Northeast. And and certainly Windham Central, as a supervisory union, it was not, the chair of that supervisory union was not present at that meeting. And it was a very casual conversation. It was not about specifics at all. And that's my recall of that meeting. Matt?
Madam Chair, point of order, we have a motion on the table. And unless the board member would like to make a friendly amendment, I think it is as stands, and we should, I don't want to put this, I want to make sure the board, we stay focused on.
Good, thank you very much. Can you read that motion again, please, because maybe
Absolutely.
we're a little distracted.
No worries. The WSESD board will explore the benefits of combining, Tim, motion that the board approve the letter to the task force with the added language. The WSESD board will explore the benefits of combining the Windham Southeast School District, Windham Northeast Supervisory Union, and Windham Central Supervisory Union.
With the added language of, read that one again, please.
The WSESD board will explore the benefits of combining the Windham Southeast School District, Windham Northeast Supervisory Union, and the Windham Central Supervisory Union.
Okay, all right.
If I got some of that wrong, make sure I get the language correct
Okay.
in that added sentence.
Yeah, and it's actually just in terms of that, I really want to make a correction. It's of combining the Windham Southeast Supervisory Union. It's not school district. It cannot be school district. Okay, it has to be supervisory union, supervisory union, supervisory union. All right, so that's the motion. Ruby.
I would like to propose a friendly amendment that would adjust that language to say the WSESD school board will explore the benefit of the Windham Southeast Supervisory Union combining with contiguous school districts.
Supervisory unions.
Yes, contiguous supervisory unions.
Okay, good, got it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Very much.
And the use of SD gets very confusing because we're in SD, we're a school district, but SD is also being used to say supervisory
District.
and we've got to be very clear about what we're saying.
Yeah.
Thank you,
We need to
Jocelyn.
be very careful there.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we've got a friendly amendment before us right
Which needs
now,
to be seconded.
which needs to be seconded. Oh, the amendment needs to be seconded? Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we've got a second discussion. We've had a lot of discussion about this already. And the friendly amendment is taking out the specifics of Windham Northeast and Windham Central supervisory unions. That's my understanding, right? Okay, any discussion? Are we comfortable, well, we've got a friendly amendment. Do we now vote on that friendly amendment? We vote on the friendly amendment. Okay, so if there's no further discussion on the friendly amendment, all those in favor of the friendly amendment, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, one opposed.
I'm also opposed.
You're also opposed.
Yeah, I agree with the assessment that showing them we're considering this will cause them to take it more seriously than if we just say we're going to reach out. But
Okay.
I would obviously bow to the will of the rest of the board.
Okay, so we've got two in opposition. I don't think we need to do a roll call. I don't see anybody online indicating Jessica Everlith and Brian Reamer. I don't see. Did you say aye?
This is Brian Reamer. I said aye.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Okay, Jessica is co-host now. Okay, Jessica has a thumbs up. So she said aye in the first go round. All right, is that clear? Okay, we're clear on that. All right, so we've got the friendly amendment. Does that close out the issue? Or do we have to go back?
We have to vote on the original motion that's now been amended.
We now have to vote on the original motion that has now been amended. So the original motion is not the original motion as originally stated. The original motion is now with the friendly amendment.
Yeah.
Yes, the updated.
Yeah, so now, okay, all right, it's not quite the original motion, but it's the amended, I was about to say adulterated motion, but no, I didn't say that. Okay, that's a fine word, look it up, it's a great word. Amended motion, all right, amended. Do I need a second? What is going on here? I'm
I
literally
think it's already been seconded.
Just take a vote.
We just take a vote. Got it. We just
Or-
take a vote.
unless
Any
there's
further
something-
discussion?
Can we read what the amended part
Yes,
was?
exactly. All right, thank you. Okay, we've got Matt Chibley.
Yeah, the new motion reads as follows. The WSESD board approved a letter to the task force with the added language. The WSESD board will explore the benefits of combining with contiguous supervisory unions.
We'll explore.
Will explore the benefits
Keep on going.
of combining with contiguous supervisory unions.
Okay, I thought it would read, would explore the benefits of combining Windham Southeast Supervisory Union with contiguous supervisory unions, just to be
Yes.
very specific.
And I thought we were doing a such as with that too, with the other.
We're not,
We're not gonna name them at all?
my understanding, we just took a vote of a friendly amendment, and it does not have such
That's why I wanted to
as
hear, 'cause
naming, and we had, two nays to that. But everyone else voted in approval of not being specific. Okay? Are we clear on that?
Mhm.
Okay, so. I think we are ready to vote on the amended motion. Can we hear it one more time? Sorry.
Of course. The WSESD board approves the letter to the task force with the added language, the WSESD board will explore the benefits of combining Windham Southeast Supervisory Union with contiguous supervisory unions.
Okay, all right. Are we ready to take a vote? No further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we've got one nay vote, and the ayes have it. Any abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it. All right, so this amended statement will go out as soon as we know what's going on the supervisory union side of the house, right? And the language of the motion, we talked about that at the very beginning, the Windham Southeast Supervisory Union being supervisory union, and it would be WSESU being composed of the member towns of, no, that's not right, supervisory. Okay, how does that first sentence read of the motion? This is the motion from the last meeting, isn't it? Isn't that what I'm looking at this point?
Yeah.
So how does that first sentence read?
The first sentence? The Windham
It
Southeast.
reads,
Go ahead.
the Windham Southeast School District being composed of the member towns of Brattleboro. This is the motion from 7-8. Okay, and I think the original language is just fine. Right, because I pulled it out. The original language is just fine, okay, for the motion, coming out of our district. Okay, out of our board. Okay. Tim,
So will you send this to the task force?
we just had that discussion. The two chairs are gonna send it. As soon as we know what,
How the SU votes.
however, once we have confirmation of how the SU is voting tomorrow, the two motions, the SD motion and the SU motion, with this preamble that we just talked about, and that has to be discussed tomorrow night as well, it's gonna go out and come from the two board chairs.
Yeah, so will there be two emails sent to the task force? One from the SU and one from the SD?
They will be worded differently, because you're.
So then there will, I guess we're saying two separate letters. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Okay, Jocelyn.
I do want to remind that they did ask for as many responses as possible by the 19th, which is their next meeting.
Okay, and today is the 12th, tomorrow's the 13th.
Right.
Right, okay.
I
Just, no, I just wanted to make sure, fuzzy summer head, where we are in dates. Okay, two separate letters. Okay, Tim, I think there is another issue that I asked you to hold off on for the moment, and that, I think we're ready to go to that. And that is press release and article.
Before you move on to that, can I just clarify, once that email goes out, it will be massaged into a press release? Is that what's happening? And how is that happening and who's doing that? Let me restate that. So if that were to become a press release,
Right, it will.
would
Yeah,
you
sure.
like the central office to be doing that? Should the communications council be helping Mo, who normally does that? Would you like that?
I think that sounds great.
Okay. Great.
Is that acceptable to the board? Okay, press release. Got it. And I presume that would also include social media.
Yes.
Right. Thank you, Ruby. That sounds great. All right, so going to how should I describe this, Tim?
It's a letter, the proposal is a letter to be published in the Commons and the Reformer to inform the public about what's at stake, what they will lose if the legislature votes on combining the SD and therefore dissolving this very school board.
Are you about to read it out loud?
I don't want to.
Good. So I printed out copies.
Good.
So I would like to just pass them out. Please take one back. And so that we can see that. And I presume everybody has taken a look at this already. And because this came out, did everybody have a chance to take a look at it? All right, so. Comment on it? Should we just take a look and just run down it?
I think it's beautifully written.
I want to take a moment to say thank you, Tim, for keeping us on track. Thank you, Jocelyn, for keeping us on track, and Tim for putting together the language of that we're looking at. It's only because we got solid language that we can actually pick it apart. So thank you. Matt.
I too second that this is beautifully written, and I am in full support of it.
Ruby?
I have very much appreciated how committed, particularly Tim and Jocelyn, are to keeping us informed. I feel like this is a very well-written commentary and walks through things in a very clear way. I feel that the voice and the messaging is not mine. It doesn't feel like it's mine. And so from my perspective, I don't think it makes sense for me to put my name on something that isn't genuinely mine. And so from my thinking, this is very powerful, and there's no less power in board members who have been working actively and understand things and keeping their finger on the pulse, writing this and submitting it to our local papers. That still can have power. I'm not convinced that I feel like us as a board putting all of our names down when I don't feel as I just came from vacation. Like, I am just not on top of this, and in a way that makes me want to kind of like sign my name. And that's not to say I don't agree with everything here. And I think I really appreciate how this is laid out, but that's how I feel about how it would be presented publicly to the world.
Ann?
I am in complete support of this letter. I want my name on it, regardless of what this board decides to do.
Mhm.
I will send this letter in with just my name on it, and I did not write it. I feel very, very strongly about this, but then I've been fighting this fight since 2014. A long time.
Okay, I have a couple questions about the letter. The second paragraph, it's very specific. It says Windham Northeast and Windham Central. We just took those out in the other piece, and I'm thinking that maybe that sentence might read, it's the second sentence of the second paragraph. In this model, the WSESU might combine with contiguous supervisory unions to share services like, all right, I would stay in the same tone as the other.
I agree with that.
Okay, thank you. And the other issue, and I don't know that this press release needs to be further refined. Reading this, I do not come away with an understanding of the difference between a supervisory district and a supervisory union. I remember in one of my Zoom calls, Margaret McLean described a supervisory district as providing food services, transportation, special ed, all within that one district, as against a supervisory union that provides those services across districts. So I don't see that defined here in a way that I, as an ordinary citizen, come away understanding it, the distinction.
Does it say, I don't recall it saying supervisory district in this document anywhere, did it?
Well, it talks about what happens if they consolidate districts.
I see,
And, right,
And
and,
it's here
yeah,
on page 2 as well.
I see, no, yeah. I think that's a fair edit, because I think a lot of that supervisory district language, I mean, some of this, I'm assuming, some of this languaging which comes through the RSCA is coming from different parts of the state that they just have different structures and the different things they're dealing with, such as supervisory districts.
Well, the task force is talking about combining districts, which would take all the local boards and phase them into like what we would discuss as the supervisory unions, where it would be one union for like a large area. That would be one board. So you'd lose your local communications and stuff.
see, that was clear to me, that combining districts, supervisory districts, means that they would no longer be independent entities.
Yeah.
They would combine and become one huge district, losing their individual identities in the process.
And not just identity, but losing the articles of agreement.
I appreciate that, but what I'm saying is, it doesn't, this statement, I didn't come away understanding the distinction between a supervisory district and a supervisory union. And I think that needs to be clear. And if this is a press release, I would suggest that it be as short as possible. It's long. It's a long statement. And Matt.
One thing we could, since we're sort of looking at potential things to add and inform the public about, not only would there be, in regards to consolidation, changes among oversight and boards, but if I understand this correctly, please jump in if I am wrong in my understanding of this, but there would be loss of central office staff and administration. That too would be under potential combining. So if supervisory unions were to combine, the central offices, our superintendents would be, positions could potentially be impacted as well. I, for one, find the success of this district intimately, inexorably linked to the superb function of our central office and our strong leadership with our superintendent. I shudder at the idea of our district, our supervisory union, having to rebuild a relationship with a different superintendent, and frankly, one that I don't trust. I believe in the work that Mark's doing, and I worry about that too. I think our community would also, if they understood this, would also be just as worried.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that's the elephant in the room, right? That nobody is talking about. And I don't know that we want to talk about it in this press release. Or maybe we do.
Maybe we do.
Maybe we do. Maybe we do. But, yeah, okay.
I think people need to know what's at stake.
Okay, so, would a couple people be interested in just working out some of the nuts and bolts of this press release?
If we're pointing out to the public the pitfalls that are a potential here, a big pitfall is the potential for faraway supervisory district boards to close our schools, to decide Putney's too small, Guilford's too small. We all middle schoolers need to go to bands, which would then make Putney and Dummerston too small. If we're gonna make that decision, we need to make it here, not in Bennington.
Right, and that's the thing, right? Because if it's all taken and put more remotely, then people don't have that close connection. When they're voting, if they're voting for people, they're not gonna know who these people are. They're not gonna be in the same towns, not necessarily anyway.
So I'm wondering if this is a very clear statement. It's very cerebral. And some of what I'm hearing right now is emotional. The reality of what this hard hit would be. And I would suggest that this statement could be a little edgier. Because we want people stirred up. Because when we start talking about what a community forum would look like, we want people to come to that meeting and understand that Act 73 is really significantly going to change lives. Rudy?
I think to that end, I think that a usefulness of releasing commentary like this or a statement like this is asking people to engage. And so, there's a call to action. We urge you to act now and contact the redistricting task force. I actually don't feel like that's I'm not saying that people shouldn't do that. Sure, people should do that. But what I really want people to do is show up to, if we do have an event that says, hey, do you want to learn more about? Or local legislators coming together, whatever it is, or a coffee talk with a few board members who can help answer questions. That's the type of thing that I feel like we said we would do and we have not done.
Yeah.
And I want, if we were to say, here's what's at stake, here's how you can engage. I think that's what's missing to me, and that I'd like, and I would feel more comfortable with this board as a whole signing on to, because right now I just feel that this is not. I don't know that this is the right way to go in terms of releasing just this statement out into the world. I don't think it's enough.
And for me, we urge you to act now is at the bottom of the second page, and I think it needs to be in some way at the top of the first page. That urgency, act now. And even if it's repeated again. Anyway, so I think there are ways of tightening this up and creating some urgency. So in order to move this forward, are a couple of people interested in working on this? Tim, I know you are.
Okay.
Well, no,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
if
no,
I
no,
did,
that's
if
fine.
I
No, that's
was,
fine.
I can help.
okay, all right. Tim, Jocelyn? Okay,
And if I just may respond to Matt. Matt, the legal charge of the task force, they have to come up with at least 3 models. One will be a combination of SUs, in which our SU would be a mega SU. The other would be dissolving the SDs, combining SDs, in which case we're gone. The third option is to do nothing, say we can't do it, and that would put everything back to square one. So either way you look at it, it's not a good, the future does not look bright.
okay. So, we are meeting again, what's the next, our next meeting date is the
26th?
the 26th. So can we, is it pressing it if I ask that a draft be linked to the next agenda for the 26th?
May I ask a question?
Yes.
I thought that there was urgency with getting feedback to the task force by the 19th. And this is, to some degree, part of that
It is
feedback.
part of that. Yes, it
Right.
is. Yes.
So it feels to me that if we as a board, if we vote and we come to a decision to move forward, great. If we don't, I think that it behooves members who have their own voice, as Anne mentioned, to do the work of putting it out with their own names. And I think that that's an appropriate thing to do if we feel that urgency is there. Because waiting until the 26th, I think it's missing what, that urgency.
Kim.
There's not that urgency, they're meeting 7 more times.
Okay, so you just pull back. So the urgency, I think, there are 2 things. One are the motions, and there's an urgency to get those motions out there. And that's corollary to this, right? It is. There is urgency to get the press release out. I agree with you. My concern about the press release as written, it will raise a lot of questions.
You mean this thing?
The draft, the
what
long
we will
draft
lose?
that I'm looking at right now, that runs a page and a half.
Mhm.
It's gonna raise a lot of questions.
Questions can be good.
Questions can be good, yes, but it would be nice if the press release expressed the urgency and come to a meeting, pay attention to dates or something, and show up. Kim.
Well, and I guess I see this more as an op-ed piece
Yep.
than
A press release.
a press release statement.
All right. And that's in keeping with what Ann just said as well, right? Putting names to it. So,
The only caveat I'd offer is that if I were going to send it personally, I would in fact wish to put Chair Windham Southeast Supervisory Union on it, not just send it in as Ann Beekman citizen.
yeah, right. Right. So, tell me what you want to do with this so that we can move on. Okay. Jocelyn. Thank you.
Jessica.
Okay, how did they come on at the same time? Two J girls at the same dang time.
Okay, see, thank you for
black
helping
t-shirts.
me out there.
Black
Yes,
t-shirts.
black t-shirts, dark hair, ay, ay, ay. Okay, Jessica.
Hello. So I don't feel strongly about whether it's a personal press release or not. I do think it is too long. I think it would be helpful to have the call to action be come to a community forum and talk about this and learn more about this. And I think we could I think there's so much good information in there. I just know from a communications perspective, people aren't going to read it unless they really want to. So we could link to like a blog or a page on our website where it has the longer form version of it. So maybe just bullet out the points with links linked out so people who are really interested can really dig in, and the people who maybe are interested but don't have time to read all of it could take a quick look and put the community forum on their calendar, or contact their legislator, whatever the call to action ends up being.
Okay, so I think those points are excellent. I also heard Tim say that regarding this statement and tweaking it into an aggressive press release, there is not the same urgency as getting the motions to the rural school, to the redistricting task force. So Jocelyn and Tim are gonna work on this statement to tighten it up, and coming back to the board on the 26th with this statement. Anything else going out would come from an individual on the board indicating that this is the individual's opinion and not reflective of any direction from the board, right? Does that make sense? That makes sense for now, okay? Ruby.
I just wanted to throw my 2 cents that as someone who regularly reads the opinion sections of the Commons, that the length and breadth and like content of this feels actually appropriate for that section, that paper, that, like that presentation. I don't know if that's what was intended. And so I just wanted to kind of give some strength to, although I get, there might be wordsmithing, there might be some editing that has to happen, but in terms of the length and the content, I actually do think that there are people in our community who would read this, but I completely support the idea of also putting in here some opportunity for further engagement and asking people to step in.
All right, so for those who so desire it, you've got a message here that's courtesy of Tim, and you can put your name to it with the understanding that you are not representing the board. That goes without saying. And then on the 26th, we'll come back and look at a rewrite of this. That would be a press release coming from the board. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. Anne?
I was gonna say, can we take our break now?
Yes, we certainly can take a break. Oh, goodness grief. We should take a 10-minute break and come back at 7:35. Thank you. All right, the recording is back in progress. There is a note going around that I'd like board members to read. It's a very nice note of appreciation that it did go around. Okay, got it.
Although I don't think Ruby and Jessica,
Oh,
so
we
we
were
were taking it after.
It's a lovely note.
It's a lovely note if we just
Well, they
pass
went
it right
through
down again. Okay. And the other thing that's on the agenda in this moment is developing a plan for a community forum. So should we leave that alone for the moment and pick it up at the next board meeting? I see nods around the room. I see nods. Yes, okay. All right, and that would be 8:26. All right, board assignments. LCs, committees, SAC. Let's just take going down the line. Are we ready to discuss that this evening? Board assignments?
Did we not do that back in March?
Yes, but what we said was, we were gonna, this is the fall. This is the beginning, well, it's not quite fall yet, but it's the beginning of the new academic year to take a look if people want to shift. And so I know finance, we've got Brian, Kim, and Ruby. Does that feel fairly stable at this point? Anybody else? Ruby?
I think that it is really great when we can have representation from all of our towns. The finance committee is a really critically important part of what we do and helps us navigate the budgeting process in a way that's clear. So I would encourage all of the representatives from all the towns to consider having one person step forward.
Yeah. When are you meeting again? Do you have a regular time?
We do have a relatively regular time with the caveat that during budget season it all kind of goes out the window a little bit. But right now I think it's the Monday before the first board meeting of the month at 5 p.m. I think is what we had settled on. And we meet in person, but also virtually for people who need to meet that way.
I feel as if I need to attend those meetings as I just feel as if I should attend those meetings to have a firm handle on what's going on. So.
Certainly during the budgeting process, and I know that, Deborah, you attended the last cycle of budgeting meetings. We increase our frequency of meetings and really get deep into that budgeting process. That's where that work happens.
Yes.
So I'd just encourage people to kind of, even if you aren't on the committee, to kind of show up as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, so certainly Dummerston, we can do a juggling act. All right, good. The Monday before the first board meeting of the month at 5 p.m. And where are you meeting?
We have been meeting in central office, in the conference room in central office.
Okay, central office.
But there's the Zoom, so.
But there's Zoom.
I'm sorry,
there's the you can Zoom.
Oh, yes. Oh, I thought you said there's the zoo.
No, there's the Zoom.
The Zoom.
Zoom.
Thank you, Ma. Okay. And just regarding policy, right now we have Deborah and Ann, and as I said, we have yet to have that discussion. Policy has not met yet to see about the timing. I know it can't be later, it would have to be earlier, but we've got to do a juggling act and see whether administrators can do it earlier in the day, and so we'll sit down. Personnel, who's on personnel, and are we comfortable with that?
We're fine with personnel.
Okay, so it's Ann and
Colleen and Jocelyn, and also Carrie Ann.
Colleen, Jocelyn, and Carrie Amadon. Okay. All right. Communications?
Communications Council, I believe, is myself, and Jessica, and Matt.
I'm sorry?
Matt Shibley.
Matt Shibley.
Was there anyone else? We meet so infrequently.
I know, I think that's it.
Carrie Amadon, I believe we invited to participate because there were so many opportunities for kind of synergy with the SU. So we did invite her, and so I do believe she sits on that committee as well.
Okay, so we've got Ruby, Jessica, Matt. Okay, I'm looking at you because you were laughing just 2 seconds ago. I was wondering. Okay, programmatic and performance.
Oh yeah, that's the one that Brian is on. Yes. So that one is myself, Brian. I feel like there's one, Kim.
I
to be.
have been on it,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought somebody else had.
I can't remember. We have not actually activated and met.
Okay.
In this, since the
All right.
start of this session.
So that's okay. So I'm just trying to see whether there's movement going on at this point. And social justice.
So Matt and I.
Mm-hmm.
So PPE was Jocelyn, Ruby, Jessica, and Brian.
Wait a minute, Matt and Jocelyn. For social justice, programmatic is?
Jocelyn, Ruby, Jessica, and Brian. This is from the March 11th meeting.
Okay.
And we haven't actually done anything, so that's part of why I think we're all forgetting.
So again, Jocelyn,
Ruby, Jessica, and Brian.
okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. And leadership councils. In the interest of time, I'm going to say let's delay our conversation with leadership councils. Okay, I'm going to hold it for the 26th, if that's okay. Okay, the 26th. And then we've got the Student Advisory Committee. That meets at 5 o'clock, 5 to 7, at odd times during the month. It meets twice a month, but it's, the timing is really flexible given student schedules, sports. We sort of do we go around the room and see who's available and then try to figure out whether it's a Monday or a Wednesday from one end of the, so it's not a given, except to say 5 to 7 at night. That we do know. Ruby?
I think that we could delay conversation about this as well, but I think that it would be good to consider rotation of the assigned board members. So I think that the existing kind of structure has been in place for maybe 2 years or so. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's appropriate to start thinking about shifting and maybe, not both of the board members like leaving and having 2 new people on, but kind of having some baton passing so that, maybe one of the board members passes a baton to a newer person, and then there's a cycle that's expected within the next few years just to get some variety and some change in terms of that board representation.
Willow?
I definitely agree with that. I think serving on the student advisory committee last year, having plenty of questions that we had for the board, and that lack of communication was definitely a challenge. And I think more variety of board members to speak with throughout the year would definitely be a benefit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Kim?
I just want to call out because I believe because we're working with students, we have to get fingerprinted.
Yes, that's absolutely
just
right.
A reminder for anybody who wants to be on the.
That's absolutely right.
SAC.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the suggestion was that we put this off and come back to it. We'll come back to it on the 26th. Okay? All right. And then letter E, evaluate the rotation of board meetings. The last 2 years, I believe, we have been rotating from school site to school site with consideration for implications of weather. I'd like to raise this again. We agreed that we would revisit it to consider how it worked, how it didn't work, the pros and cons of it. Kim.
Two things. I mean, I think it's good for us to go out and about to the schools, but I think we're missing an opportunity without the admins here and having this discussion and seeing how it impacts them and being prepared, how it impacts them and the schools and everything.
Got it.
And I'm just wondering if we should have them in the room when we're asking that question.
We're going to delay this discussion altogether. All right, we're delaying it. Do you mind?
I don't.
Okay, I'm putting this off for 8:26. A lot of things are being put off for 8:26. All right, and with that in mind, I'm looking at letter F. Evaluate the 3 summits. We're delaying that with that same spirit. Okay. Is that okay? We need admin in the room for that discussion? Or am I incorrect? Somebody say something.
There was a Vernon board meeting last night.
Yes.
I asked them about this topic, wanted their feedback, so I didn't misrepresent them. Their response was that they felt that the 3 summits were great and that they enjoyed. Is a lot of information, and sometimes that was difficult, but they appreciated receiving information with all of the other board members and just kind of seeing how folks work together. Mm-hmm. The newest board members felt like it was really helpful in terms of learning, getting a deep dive into how the school system works. Mm-hmm. So I'll just share, that was the conversation last night.
Thank you, Mark, thank you. All right, let's open it up a bit here. The summits. The summits, I'm going to put in my 2 cents. The summits, we begin at 5. We have supper, and the work begins at 6 p.m. It's a lot coming at us. It's a lot of data. But as I think about it, we get that data beforehand. So it's incumbent upon us to do the preliminary work before the night of the summit so that we have a better handle on what's being discussed. I think that the concept works well rather than having, I think otherwise it wears thin on administrators, that they are going from board to board to board, 3 boards with the same information. Let's consolidate it, let's bring it together. So I'm all for continuing in that manner. Kim.
I concur with you. I think it's important with the boards to come together and see each other's faces and have discussions, because besides Carrie Amadon, and after meeting them at the last summit and the board retreat, I could identify people, but I couldn't have told you who else besides Carrie Amadon was on the Vernon board.
Right.
And I think that's important. I do think we do need to be careful about how much information and how long it is, just because it's a lot for admins to have to talk and explain all of that, and it can be overwhelming. Just trying to input and comprehend and understand all of the information, because not all of the information is on the slides. because the admin team does a great job and gives us a lot of information. Sometimes it's just a little too much.
Ruby?
I think I concur with everything that you've all just said. I think a feedback point that I have is that I didn't find any meaningful way to engage with the data that was given. So we were given a lot, and then there wasn't time and space to ask questions, and so I don't know. I think the answer is like the suggestions are to kind of maybe pare back or rethink about how much is there to create some space. I also wonder about, as I really did appreciate getting to know the people on the Vernon board and coming together with all of the boards, but I'm not sure, is our voice a little bit too dominant to, when we come together, is there like a misbalance in terms of how we're engaging? And so that's just a question I have. And, as we think about the format, I just question how could it be adjusted to create a more meaningful engagement with the content.
So are you suggesting that because we're a 10-person board,
Yeah.
we're a little top heavy?
Possibly.
So does that mean 5 of us could stay home?
Nice try.
Because we want to be quorum for a meeting.
I think that's a given, right? If we're going to do it this way. Yeah. Tim?
I just think that there should be a much clearer, much more focused understanding of what the intent is, what the purpose of the focus groups is. I think we should really have a laser-like focus on an issue like hazing, harassment, and bullying, or closing the achievement gap, but not cover the processes of collecting data, or not covering everything across the whole curriculum. I would just like a much more, if these summits, a summit by definition is when people come together to make decisions. I'd like to know, what decisions are we making? Are we simply on the receiving end of this is how we're doing? Or are we making a decision about this is how we go forward with focused only on things that are manageable? And is it a given that we have 3 summits? Is it given that we have 4-hour or 5-hour summits? Why not just a focused 2 hours on solving a really big, important issue in the district? When you try to do everything, very often you accomplish very little.
Yeah, but it raises the issue of what are the issues that we want to hear about in a summit, and my understanding of it is there is a lot of data that needs to be shared across these boards. And this was a mechanism to share that information once rather than 3 times. I think going to Kim Price's point, we want to limit how much is done in a summit, I agree, and we may want to curtail some of the wonderful, hearing about some of the wonderful programs where we could hear about it in a different way, on a different evening, but hear the data that is universal to all of our children. Tim?
Well, again, I think we're locked into this notion that if somebody has to be a PowerPoint presentation. Again, why can't we receive a report on some items that we read and engage in privately, and then come back for discussion? We keep asking for reports rather than presentations, but we don't move towards that, I think.
Okay, I think to a certain degree, yeah. The presentations as PowerPoints are the reports. And I'm wondering, and Kim.
And I believe there's supposed to be how we are doing with the continuous improvement plan.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, the boards need to pass the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the number one goal, is to pass like close to $100 million worth budget to support the programs that we're trying to educate the board and the community of what we're doing. So there are opportunities to really share in a deep way. This is how our complicated system works, and we're not just like throwing stuff against the wall. We're really grounded in data, in best practice. And I mean, we can work on toning them down, that's fine. But it's an opportunity to have the professionals present how we're running the school district. And I think that's a really valuable thing, and a really important thing. And I think it's gonna really help you propose and sell a budget to the community. And we've been very successful at that, thankfully. But it's not gonna get any easier.
This was our first year of summits. This was our first year. So,
I mean, I would just share, they're on the website. If you have some downtime to just go back and even just review, I think you're gonna be really impressed with the amount of information that is shared with the community and how it is grounded in data and scientifically researched approaches to teaching children.
Ruby?
I think that I just want to also acknowledge that this is the first year, and I do feel like the administration heard our kind of like, oh my God, so much information, and made adjustments.
Right.
So I think that I see that there's a reactiveness to that, which I anticipate will happen even further.
Right.
So, but just to kind of support what I'm hearing from Tim, and maybe reframe it or restate it a little bit, it feels like there are ways in which there's a lot of data that's presented, and the presentations are really valuable, and I think they've gotten even clearer and more valuable in terms of how they're laid out. But I think that there is a way in which having a more formal written report is helpful. And it's in the same way that if you were writing, if you took some of that data and you used it for a grant application, you wouldn't take the slide deck and include it in a document. You would actually, take that data and create a sentence that that tells people the story. And so it's just a different way of telling the story that I think that we haven't quite gotten as a board. We haven't heard. That is not to say we haven't heard the story. Like, I think we are hearing the story, and the thing I really do appreciate is the number of voices. We're hearing from the educators, we're hearing from administrators, and it's not just one or two administrators from central office, and I like that. But that being said, I think that there's everybody hears things in different ways, and so therefore I think that considering how could we have some additional piece that's presented and then maybe not reviewed ad nauseum in the meeting, but just as a report that could be standalone is just something to consider.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not really gonna ask my team to write a dissertation for the board. I mean, I want the board and the community to hear from the people who are doing the work. And the slideshows, that's an opportunity for us to collaborate without all being in the same room as administrators and personnel. A lot of that work is done from lots of different people who collaborate on a shared document. But to ask for a report to send to you and not wanting to hear from the people who are actually doing the work, I can tell you it's not landing very well with me, and I would imagine it's not landing very well with other administrators who may be at this meeting. I don't know if there are others at this meeting or not, but.
Jessica.
I just want to kind of reflect a little bit of what I'm hearing and my feelings on it. So I think it's not, for me personally, it's not that I don't want to hear from the administration and the folks doing the work. That's exactly who I want to hear from. I like hearing from them. I think for me, it's less about that and more about how can we take this work that they're doing and fully support it and say, what can we do as a board to give up the I mean, you mentioned the budget. Where are those, like, what do you need to do it? And I think I like hearing about it. For me, it was a lot of a highlight reel. Here's all the things we did really well, and that's great. I didn't come away from that of like, okay, I know how my role, and that may be because I'm new as a board member. It didn't come away for me as like, okay, I know how to support the administration and the teachers and what they need from us. It was just kind of like, okay, they seem like they're doing a great job. What's my role? So I think as a new board member, that's where I was stuck, and I think having more opportunity for discussion and like to get into that stuff, because it is nuanced, it's not going to come across in a report, and a lot of it could be anecdotal, but I think having the opportunity to have that discussion as a big group would be helpful. And so I think if we can scale it back somehow, get that a little bit of the information in the report. I know we get the PowerPoint in advance or draft form of it. Kind of having that narrative in advance so that we can move the needle as we have these summits. That's kind of my view of it.
I think this information is going into the minutes, and we'll go for the first summit and assess as we move along. Tim.
Yeah, just to respond, I think when you talk about the summits selling the budget, I understand you mean that we need a budget in order to accomplish our mission, which is providing safe schools and having every student achieve his or her goals. But getting back, I think Kim said the summit should focus on the continuous improvement plan. I agree. And the continuous improvement plan should focus on those areas that we need to improve. Not just saying this is the great job we're doing here and there and there, but these are areas that we need to improve on. And the CIP, in a document you read from AOE, says that it should involve the public, students, administration, staff.
Okay, I think these are points well taken, and but I think the plan is to continue with the summits, and with perhaps a little wiggle room. I understand the need for space to absorb, to think about what we've just heard, and maybe that simply means having a break built in to the evening so that we can step away and come back to it. I do think that the summits have been about lack of proficiency, as well as all the things that have been working well. I mean, that's what I recall with the summits about, hey, we've got a great cohort coming out of kindergarten. Look at what these, look at what the testing, look at what the possibility is. We also want to address issues that need improvement, and I've heard that in the summits. I have heard that. So I think we've got some feedback right now from the 3 summits over the course of the year. Let's begin the year, September, October, and let's evaluate the summits as we go along. How's that? Okay, Jocelyn, and then I want to move on with this agenda. Yes.
I'll be quick.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Being that I've only been to the one summit and starting later and everything, I really liked the sit down with everybody where they would come to the table and the administration from each school would talk. I wish it was longer.
I'm sorry?
I wish it was longer, that portion where they were sitting at the table and kind of giving us their particulars and stuff.
That was at the retreat.
Yeah, it's not the same thing we're talking about, sorry.
No.
Too many terms,
That's okay.
sorry.
But we're talking about the summits that have taken place in this room. It's a packed room. All 3 boards are present.
Okay.
Right. No, but right. Okay. All right. I'm going to move on to, with board permission, an update with board goals. I don't know how that stands right now. Whether there's anything to report, or do we give it a pause for the moment? Oh, okay. Oh, great, Jessica.
Short update. Very
Thank you.
So the board goals group met today very briefly to kind of figure out a plan moving forward. We're going to meet again on Friday, and our plan is to we're going to review the all of the goals that came out of our last retreat and kind of see what 1 to 3 themes stick out, and then we're going to create some smart measurable goals around that and present them as soon as possible.
Good. Perfect. Thank you very much. That's a great update. Thanks. Tim?
What? Oh, one other thing. As part of that work, we did request from Mark today information on the teacher surveys, just to kind of help inform the work that we're doing, because I think that was one of the things we were missing, or that we felt like we were missing. So that request is in.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Moving on with permission. Development of a board calendar and a district calendar. Board volunteers to work with administrators in creating the district calendar. You, Mark, at this point you are creating a district calendar, right, of presentations?
Yeah, hopefully next week we will do that. We've summarized, Whitney's done a ton of work this summer summarizing the retreat.
Right.
And we'll start formulating that feedback into a draft of a calendar.
Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Ruby?
I'm happy to volunteer to be a board member participating in that process. My understanding of what your request is, or what the request on the table is, that coming out of, I think, conversations at our board retreat is a desire to think about what our board, what are board actions and things, and where do they live. And so I do think that there is some wisdom to having kind of board participation in the development of that calendar, so that we're not having two disparate and separate calendars, that we have a kind of merged one. So I'm happy
Okay.
to step forward.
Okay, I certainly put your name down on that one. Yes, Tim?
I'd like to be on that too.
Okay. Okay, there we go. And I am going to move on. Okay. We are up to board oversight as it relates to harassment, hazing, bullying. I think regarding HHB, there has been some discussion about how that factors into board goals. So you certainly have seen through these two links, our letter and then the AOE reply. The AOE reply was not in any way in the spirit of our letter. It certainly didn't even really acknowledge our letter, except they had to make a reply. So at this point, how do you want to handle it? Do you want to go back to the AOE? Should I resend the original letter and say, read it? I don't know. I feel as if they didn't read it. Am I crazy? I don't know what they were replying to. So I'm not crazy. Matt, you wrote the original letter. Do you want to draft a very polite?
I don't know that I would have the capacity to do something polite toward that.
Yeah, right.
I'm not convinced that that the AOE is interested in listening to what we have to say at this point on this matter.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's infuriating and it's saddening.
And the AOE hasn't even gotten back in terms of so many other issues that are on our shoulders as boards, and the reply is always how short-staffed they are. So, okay. I'm not feeling a great deal of enthusiasm right now from this board. The other thing that comes up, and I think maybe in some way, well, okay, we'll stay right here for the moment. Okay. Ruby.
I guess I don't know if who is on Zoom and if they could speak to it, but I know that when this issue came up initially, there were some community members, there were some people who worked in our district for quite some time. I know Mary Gannon was one of them. I know Curtis Reed was another.
Right.
I guess I wonder if there were individuals who would be able to speak to that. I see that Brian's waving his hand at the screen, would like to say something also, but that was my only question or thought.
Brian?
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if this will be helpful or what you think of the idea, but I noticed that the response from AOE is from Tracy Waterston. I do know her from previous work in totally different context with the state of Vermont. I could try dropping her a note, maybe if she saw my name, not that I'm an influential person, but she might give us a response. If you want me to do that, I'd be happy to drop her a note, as long as you give me the original communication that we are trying to get a response to.
Okay. Brian, that is great. Thank you. I thank you on behalf of the entire board. And the original letter is linked on this agenda. It's linked as letter to the AOE, so it is on the agenda. So thank you very much. If you would drop her a line and link or attach the original letter, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Oh, great. Okay, and it is linked on the agenda. Okay. And then, as part of that, if you would copy me and Kim, twice. But I would link that original letter so that Tracy sees it along with your personal, note to her. Thank you so much. Okay, that takes care of that.
Right.
And we are up to,
No, if I may.
yes,
I thought the board, under that item, there's board request for detailed data from each site. Did we discuss that?
no, we did not. Thank you for raising that. That came up at either the last board meeting, that we would like to have a breakdown of instances of hazing, harassment, and bullying based upon the type of incident broken down by school site for this information to be shared and discussed in executive session only. Very much the model that we went through when we discussed restraint and seclusion broken down by school site. So that was a request that came up, and how does the board feel about that? I mean, we talked about this briefly, I do believe, yes,
I
no,
think we had indicated we needed to wait until the administration and Mark came back to be able to move forward with this. And
Right.
give them an appropriate amount of time to put something together and
Right.
respond.
okay.
And, well, perhaps Mark can talk about this, but by law, every school in the state is required to submit this information to the AOE. Isn't that public information?
Yeah, but it's not broken, I am going to bounce in and say, what is not public information is numbers broken out by school site. Because that becomes a violation of confidence. Because schools are so small, so the totals, just as the totals for restraint may be public and published, but not broken out by school site. And I think that's what we experienced, and we would like it to see it broken out by school site.
Right, so that would definitely have to be an executive.
It has to be in executive session. So, I'm going to, I don't know, does that answer the question?
Oh, yeah, but I'm also thinking that the board should at least have the same information that the AOE receives about reports for the district, and the AOE is very specific about what incidents are: expulsions, suspensions, complaints about bullying, harassment.
Okay, so we're gonna move forward with this, and Mark, at some point, if you can give us an estimate on how much time you need to rally this data and your administrators, and then we'll go into executive session.
Sure.
Sorry, just one more note.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, just one more note.
Okay,
The QES has a required data that requires that data be broken down by ethnicity and marginalized students' IEPs. That's required.
okay. All right, and once again, breaking that out down by school site, it has to be done in executive session.
Yeah.
So that's the issue of confidentiality that I want. And as Mark, as you work out the timing of it, we can also talk about the detail, the breakdown by detail.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we wanna get settled in the school year for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then come back to this
Okay.
maybe.
All right, so we're gonna keep this on our radar. Ruby?
I guess I want to raise something because I feel like it's not called out specifically in the agenda, but it feels important to me in terms of this conversation. At the board meeting that was directly after the board admin retreat, this board talked about a desire to come together and, discuss what were there some things that might have been missing or not part of our district goals that should be. And one of them had to do with hazing, harassment, and bullying. And there were a few other things that came up. Those were conversations that happened just with board members here. And I think that conversation is part of what informs some of this request. And so I think it would behoove us as a board, as soon as we can, to actually raise that as an agenda item so that we can talk about it with the administration and administrators. Because as we've learned over the years, that continuous improvement plan is a continuous thing. It is a living document, and therefore that's what I think we as a board were looking to do and is informing this kind of request.
Okay, so let me make sure I got this straight, because I think that part of this is dependent on our task force having to do with board goals.
No,
Got it. All right.
so I think that my recollection of the board meeting directly following the board admin retreat was we
You're talking
had
about on the same day.
on the same day.
Not on
It was-
not on July 8th.
It was reflective and thinking about what we had the work we'd just done in the board admin retreat that was specifically around the CIP goals that are district level goals, which is at this point in time separate and apart from the kind of what are our board goals. That's different work. That's a separate thing from what the CIP goals are.
Okay, so are you then, again, to make sure I got it straight, that the issue of HHB needs to be raised when we have all administrators in the room?
I believe that if we look back at the minutes from that meeting, the post-board admin meeting, I think there was HHB, I think there might have been, I can't remember what else there was, maybe social justice. There were one or two issues that we discussed that we felt that, could have been more elevated in our district goals, and that how do we make sure that that's reflected, that there wasn't that was something that came up in our board meeting afterwards.
So then, if there are additional goals other than those of the CIP that we feel as board members were not fully evident in the CIP goals. Yes.
My understanding, I think certainly HHB is a component, and there's elements that we were talking about as a board that fall within the CIP goal of the sense of belonging. So acts of kindness and connection, having adults that you can trust and respond to and that are looking out for your best interest. I think we're all things that we're circling around in this conversation. So perhaps what I'm hearing, and I hope Mark you're hearing, is a commitment of this board to really do some deep dives into that CIP goal of sense of belonging this year. It seems like there's a lot of energy around that.
Okay, I do think there is overlap with this conversation and board goals. Okay, because that's gonna impact CIP as well. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think there's overlap in all of the work that we're doing,
Right.
but specifically we as a board came out of a really enlivened board admin retreat with a lot of great information, and we had some feedback and thoughts. And so in the spirit of what we heard, which was that the CIP is something that is a living, breathing thing, coming back to that.
Right.
And giving that feedback, I think is important. And so I think that is a separate and apart from what are our board goals. Our board goals and the work that we're doing on setting board goals is at this point distinct from anything that's related to the CIP, but informed by. But I really think that this is a standalone thing, personally.
Okay, I find it a very gray area, and I don't see the precise distinctions, but I hear the issue, very much so. So at this point, it seems to me that early in the academic year, we need to come back to CIP goals and consider if the CIP goals cover the critical issues from the board's perspective.
I mean, I think that it's just we need to create space to share some of, like, look back on what our feedback points were, because in it, you know, like there were the HHB and how did that rise up, and how are we making sure that's prioritized? That was one point. And another comment or thought or feedback point was around that when we think about our district CIP goals, they're the district-wide ones, and there was a lot of work that went into those, and they exist. And what was submitted was the site-specific goals, which were very different.
Yeah.
And so it's giving us an opportunity to share some of the feedback and the what we felt around that. I still think that I have always appreciated, as we've heard Bryn say over and over, it is like it's continuous. And so in that spirit, let's come back to it.
Okay, got it. With admin in the space.
Yes.
With admin in the space.
Right.
Kim.
Just to be clear, our CIP goals have been submitted and.
Yeah, we do realize that. We do.
We approved the CIP, and then we approved each individual school's.
Yes.
CIP plans.
Yeah, so, yes.
So everything was submitted.
So this is just in the spirit of the fact that CIP, as Ruby said, is a living, breathing document that can be added, that can be amended and added to. Okay, got it. And I'm gonna move on to the next issue. And that is the commitment to the Vermont School Board Association, putting that on hold. It was suggested that, to me, that it's premature to talk about it right now. So we're not due to pay the bill yet.
Correct.
Good. In fact, I think you said it's premature to talk about the VSBA, to put it on hold in a memo to me.
No, I just wanted to note that in the letter to you, they asked to come to meet with us, the VSBA.
Okay.
So in the future, are we gonna follow up on that? They said, please provide us with a date and time of the board committee meeting you would like us to attend. That was a letter, June 7th.
Okay, I see that. And we can certainly invite them to come to a meeting, to engage with us, but, are we ready to do that at this point?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right. Are we ready to have a conversation with the VSBA at this point? Do we have something to say to them? Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, that exact question, do we have anything that we wanna say to them? I think we've shown our tremendous support. I don't know that there's much more we would want to say necessarily
Right,
at this time.
right. So that's my concern. I believe in your email to me, you suggested that we wait on this conversation until,
After the resolution committee, after we see the resolution committee passes or not our resolution.
yes. So do we leave it on hold for now? When does the resolution committee meet?
I will present our resolution on 9/11.
Okay. Then I think, you'll let me know how that goes. Put it on hold. All right, we are getting up to the administrative report. And I'm going to say to our student representatives, it is now 8:30. I don't know if you can stay in the space or not, but I just want to acknowledge that it's 8:30 at night. So, I'm gonna move on to the administrative report.
I appreciate it. I think I'm gonna go home now.
I think you're entitled to go home, and you certainly do not have to wait for me or anyone else to announce that. 8:00. 8:00. All right, and I guess maybe we should all leave at 8:00. But we're moving.
Tempt us.
Yeah, right, exactly. Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Willow. Good. Okay, night number 1 of many nights. Thank you. And it's a good idea, I would suggest, that you print out the agenda.
We leave our name tags.
Oh, leave our name tags.
I have those.
Okay.
Oh, good, okay, good.
Nope.
Thank you.
Oh,
They're all
golly,
set.
okay.
Just wanted to make sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night, good night. Okay, administrative report.
All right, be brief. The summer edition of the SU Connection will most likely be ready to be sent out to the community. I'm anticipating by Friday, hopefully by Thursday. So that should be hitting your inboxes this week. Our food service program is up and running and has been all summer long. I think we're off to a really good start. We've hired a lot of people. I think we have the infrastructure in place to have a successful school year. But certainly will be interesting to see how the first couple of weeks of school go. But I am anticipating a much better product. So I wanted to highlight that because I think that's a really good work of this SU and SD boards and Burnham.
Mark, do we know if a lot of students and families took advantage of the summer meals?
Tons.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I think there's going to be an article in the Connection with some data around how many meals were distributed throughout the summer. But all reports that I've received it's been very positive. In the past couple of years.
Oh, good.
What?
Not good that there were
The lines.
lines, that they had to wait line, but.
And in the last couple of years, as some of our student programs, summer camps, I had received, complaints around the quality of the food, the packaging of the food. This was like not a new thing that I would get that type of feedback in the summer. And I haven't received any feedback like that this summer. So that makes me think we're on a good track here. And Susan Grabowski, who works in the SU office, seems really pleased with the development and her partnership with Harley to help kind of get things going. So there will be more information about that in the Connection newsletter, and then we'll touch base on how things are going throughout the fall months as we get the school year started. Another highlight I just wanted to share briefly, and Deb spoke to this earlier. We're increasing our capacity at Canal Street School, which is our Brattleboro Early Childhood Center. One of the really important projects we entertained this summer was to create more parking opportunities, so to create access to that school. Next time you drive by Canal Street, just kind of take a look. I think they did a really nice job building a new parking lot and also adding shrubbery and mulch and planting a tree. It's a really nice space. So next thing to do is we got to draw some lines for parking spaces, but it's pretty exciting to see how the Canal Street School has evolved over the last 3 years, which I've talked quite a bit about, especially at SU meetings. So I may elaborate a little more tomorrow night. And then simply I just shared with you hard copies of a letter that probably hit mailboxes today of all of our staff in the WSESU. It's just my welcome back letter. That's the first page. The second page, the yellow page, is the school calendar on one side. The other side is really detailed plan for professional development throughout the school year. So you have those dates to anticipate throughout the school year. And then the third purple page is kind of an overview of the themes of that we'll be working on throughout the school year with social justice and equity being on the forefront. Our theme for the year is Voices of the People. And then you can see each month we break it down into something a little bit more specific. But this was developed by combination of the Diversity Equity Committee in collaboration with the administrative team. We ended the school year with 2 full days of collaboration. And this was the agreed upon document that we're starting the school year with. And then lastly, forever, for decades, we've printed off a calendar, a pocket calendar of the school year. Really want to give kudos to Mo Hart, my assistant. She had a really great idea to kind of jazz things up this year. So typically the pocket calendar was half of what it is. But now it's still, if you fold it in half, it's like a little booklet, and it still fits nicely into your wallet or wherever you want to put it. But we use that additional space to promote our Portrait of a Graduate work. So, this was sent to all of our staff in a letter. We'll send home to all families in the first weeks of the school year. So all in all, we're looking at closely 4,000, 5,000 of these being distributed throughout the community. So it's a very small way to put Portrait of a Graduate out there. We certainly need to be strategic about how we continue to do that throughout the course of the school year. But again, just wanted to highlight that little detail and just appreciate Mo's creativity and thought process and putting this together and taking advantage of something little like this, but which could have a large impact in terms of awareness for the greater community. First in-service day of the school year is the 22nd. And the first day of school is the following Wednesday. So that would be the 27th. So that's the overview.
Okay, any hires, resignations, or are we in,
We're all caught up, but I do
We are.
anticipate we'll have at least 2 or 3 new hires on the 26th.
got it,
Yeah.
okay. My understanding is there is no fiscal report this evening. Therefore, we are moving on to the consent agenda. Is there?
I will just share that I did speak with Frank earlier today. He and the finance department are looking to really close up the books by Friday. Their target date is the 15th. So at that point, he will be ready to, on the 26th, to give an update to the board in terms of how we landed fiscally and how we're starting the school year.
Okay, sounds great. Good. So, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Well, discussion. Whoops.
So are you, when you say approve the consent agenda, it is with the adjustments that happened at the beginning? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Discussion. Further discussion. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It is approved. Thank you very much. I see Colleen is voting, Brian is voting as well. Thank you, online. All right, unfinished business? New business?
Before I make my motion, I would like to invite anyone with within the sound of my voice to raise a glass tonight for Ruth Barton, a longtime school director who passed away over the weekend. She has contributed a lot to our schools, to our communities, and she will be greatly missed. Thank you for everything, Ruth.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Madam Chair, there being no further business before this board, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much, everyone, for this evening.